Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a deep dive into the global film and television industry.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
We've got a really interesting mix of sources today. We've got industry newsletters, we've got festival highlights, and even some chatter about AI and entertainment.
Wow. Sounds like a lot to unpack.
It is.
Oh, wait.
So we're going to be exploring how African cinema is really making its mark on the world stage right now.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's really exciting. And then also a really unexpected marketing strategy from a luxury hotel chain that kind of has me scratching my head.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
And then we'll also look at the comeback of some really acclaimed directors.
Ooh, who are we talking about?
We'll get there.
Okay. All right.
But first, let's head to Africa, where the film and TV scene is just exploding with energy right now.
It's that time.
I know, right? It's so exciting to see.
Yeah.
So there's this production company called 1030 Pictures, and they had just debuted a new show on Netflix called Go.
I think I saw something about that.
Yeah, you probably did.
Yeah.
It's kind of making the rounds. And it's a story about a young sprinter who is navigating life's hurdles both on and off the track.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the founder of this company, Kutlwano Ditsele, he wants to make 1030 Pictures the A24 of Africa.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, so for folks who don't know,
Right.
what is A24 known for?
Yeah, so A24 is known for these really incredible indie films that capture these really raw and human stories like Moonlight and Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Right. Those are amazing films.
I know.
Both of them.
So Ditsele's vision for this company really suggests that there's a desire to bring that same energy and that same kind of filmmaking to African narratives.
I mean, that's huge.
I know.
Think about the potential impact on the global film scene.
Totally.
If they can really tap into those universal stories that are within African cultures.
It's like opening a window to a world that a lot of global audiences hasn't had the chance to experience yet.
For sure.
And it's not just 1030 Pictures that's making waves.
Okay, so what else is happening?
So the Joburg Film Festival just wrapped up.
I've heard of that.
It showcased a really diverse range of African talent.
Great.
And Julian Chow's film, Blind Love, won Best Feature Film there.
Wow.
Yeah. And Roel Peck's documentary, Ernest Cole, Lost and Found, took home the award for Best Documentary.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was that one about?
So Ernest Cole's story is really powerful.
Okay.
He was South Africa's first Black freelance photographer.
Wow.
And his work documenting the brutalities of apartheid, it's a really vital part of history.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the fact that the festival chose to honor his legacy with this award, I think really speaks volumes about their commitment to showcasing these important stories from the region.
Yeah, it definitely sends a strong message.
Totally. And it's not just about the accolades either.
Right.
The festival itself is really aiming to become this major pop culture event,
Oh, wow.
drawing in audiences from across sub-Saharan Africa.
That's ambitious.
It is. It's a big goal, but it's really exciting to see them striving for that.
For sure.
Okay, so let's switch gears now.
Okay.
We're going to go from the world of film festivals to luxury resorts.
Huh. That's a big jump.
It is.
Okay, I'm listening.
So believe it or not, the Four Seasons has partnered with HBO's The White Lotus.
Really?
I know.
I love that show.
It's such a good show.
Yeah.
But it's basically a satire about the wealthy elite set in these idyllic locations.
Right, but isn't it kind of counterintuitive for them to partner?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, the show is literally about all the worst impulses of rich people.
Exactly. You'd think they'd want to distance themselves from that kind of imagery.
Right. Murder, infidelity, all playing out at these luxury Four Seasons properties.
I know.
Doesn't exactly make you want to book a vacation.
You would think not.
Huh.
But surprisingly, the partnership has been this marketing triumph.
Really?
Yeah, the specific locations that are featured in the show. So Maui, Taormina, and Koh Samui have seen this huge surge in bookings since the show came out.
That's so interesting.
It is.
I guess it speaks to our fascination with the lives of the ultra-wealthy.
You think so?
Yeah, I think there's this voyeuristic element at play where we want to peek behind the curtain.
I see what you mean.
See how the other half lives, even if it's fictionalized and satirical.
So you're saying the Four Seasons is capitalizing on that inherent curiosity?
Absolutely. They're basically saying, we're so luxurious we can even make murder look good.
It's a risky strategy for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But it seems to be paying off.
Huh. So maybe we'll see more unexpected collaborations like this in the future.
Right? You never know.
Makes you wonder.
Okay, so from luxurious resorts to the red carpet, some big-name directors are making their comebacks this year.
Okay,
I know
finally.
you've been waiting for this.
Yeah, tell me.
So we're talking Lynne Ramsay, Kathryn Bigelow, Derek Cianfrance, Paul Greengrass, and Paul Thomas Anderson.
Ooh, that's a good lineup.
Right.
Ramses. We need to talk about Cabin.
Oh, such a good film.
So psychologically disturbing. I mean, it stuck with me for weeks.
And Bigelow's Zero Dark 30.
Oh, masterclass in tension and suspense.
Absolutely.
So good.
And these aren't your typical popcorn munching directors.
No, they're not.
Their films demand your attention. They make you think.
Totally.
And I think their return is significant in an industry that often prioritizes big budget blockbusters and franchises.
Absolutely. It suggests there's still an appetite for auteur-driven cinema,
Right.
for those films that are really driven by a singular vision.
It's refreshing.
Right.
Such a change of pace.
It makes you wonder if maybe, just maybe, we're seeing a shift in the industry,
Oh, interesting.
away from the predictable and the formulaic towards something a little bit more daring.
I like where you're going with this.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thought.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, there's another force that we need to discuss, and that's the creator economy.
Oh, yeah, that's blowing up right now.
It is, and the Create London Summit is happening soon, and they're diving headfirst into the opportunities and the challenges that this new landscape presents.
That sounds fascinating.
It's pretty mind-blowing. Okay.
The creator economy is projected to be worth a staggering $480 billion by 2027.
Wow.
I know. And we're not just talking about influencers doing dance challenges on TikTok.
Right, it's much bigger than that.
It's a fundamental shift in how content is created and distributed and consumed.
It's like a democratization of media, right?
Exactly. Anyone with a smartphone and an internet connection can potentially become a content creator.
And reach a global audience.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And Create London is bringing together some really major players to discuss how to navigate this evolving landscape. They'll be covering topics like brand partnerships, funding models, and even the rise of generative AI.
Ooh, generative AI. That's fascinating.
It is.
What is that exactly?
So it's basically artificial intelligence that can create content, so it can write scripts, compose music, even generate images.
Whoa, so like a robot artist?
Kind of, yeah.
What does that mean for the future of creativity?
That's a really big question. And it's raising some questions about the role of human artists in a world where machines can just create art on their own.
That's a little scary.
It is. It's a
Yeah.
little unsettling.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that it's being discussed alongside, brand partnerships and funding models just speaks to how integral it's becoming to the creator economy.
So we can't just ignore it.
Right.
It's here to stay.
Yeah. And as we move forward, we need to find ways to harness its potential while also addressing the ethical challenges it presents.
It's a tall order,
It is,
but an important one.
for sure.
So we're talking about this huge wave of independent creators.
And like the playing field is being leveled in a way,
Right.
anyone with a good story and the skills to tell it can potentially reach a global audience now.
Right, and it's not even just about the technology. It's
Yeah.
about the stories themselves. Like, what kind of narratives are going to resonate with audiences in this new world?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think authenticity is key. Yeah, audiences are so much savvier than they used to be.
That's true.
They can sniff out a phony narrative from a mile away.
Yeah, they can tell when something's not genuine.
Exactly. They're looking for stories that feel real, that connect with them on an emotional level.
So it's not enough to just have a flashy concept or big budget special effects.
I mean, those things can help,
Sure.
but they're not the heart of the matter.
Right.
It's about the characters, the relationships, the emotional stakes.
Yeah,
It's about stories that make us feel something, that make us think.
that makes sense. And it kind of ties into what we were talking about earlier with the rise of African cinema. A lot of those films are rooted in very specific cultural experiences.
Right.
But they also tap into those universal themes of family, love, and loss.
Precisely. And that's what makes them so compelling.
Yeah.
They offer a fresh perspective.
It's a new way of seeing the world.
Exactly.
And I think audiences are hungry for that.
Totally. New voices, new stories, new perspectives.
And that's where the creator economy comes in.
It's empowering all those voices to be heard.
And bypassing those traditional gatekeepers,
Yeah.
right?
Connecting directly with their audience.
We were talking about the Create London Summit,
Yes.
how they're exploring all these different facets of this creator economy.
Mm.
It's not just about creating the content.
Right.
It's about building a sustainable business model.
It's about the business side of things.
Yeah.
That's right. So they'll be discussing things like brand partnerships, funding models, and how to navigate the ever-changing world of, algorithms and platform dynamics.
It's a whole new set of skills that creators need to master now.
Right. It's like being an entrepreneur, an artist, and a marketer all rolled into one.
It's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
But that's why events like Create London are so important.
Totally.
They're giving creators the tools and the knowledge to succeed in this new landscape.
That's almost like a new wave of filmmaking is emerging. You've got these independent creators finding their voice through social media and online platforms.
Yeah.
And then you've got those established directors making a comeback.
Reminding us of the power of auteur-driven cinema.
And let's not forget about the role of AI in all of this.
Oh, yeah. We can't leave that out, can we? It's a tool that can be used to really enhance the creative process.
To push the boundaries of what's possible in storytelling. We touched on AI a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth diving a little deeper.
Okay.
What are some of the ways that you see AI impacting the entertainment industry?
Well, one area where AI is already having a huge impact is in post-production.
Okay.
It's being used to streamline editing, enhance visual effects, and even create realistic CGI characters.
So it's like having a superpowered assistant.
In a way, yeah.
Who can handle all the technical heavy lifting.
But it's not even just about efficiency.
No.
AI can also be used to create entirely new forms of storytelling.
Oh, really? Like what?
For example, there are companies that are using AI to generate interactive narratives, where the audience can actually influence the direction of the story.
Whoa, that's wild.
I know, right? It's like those choose-your-own-adventure books. Yeah. But on a whole other level.
That's so cool.
And then there's the potential for AI to personalize the viewing experience even further.
Okay, how so?
Imagine a world where your streaming service knows your tastes so well that it can curate a list of movies and shows
that are perfectly tailored to my interests.
Exactly.
That sounds pretty amazing.
Right.
But also a little creepy.
Yeah. I mean, how much does this algorithm really know about me?
Exactly.
So that's definitely a valid concern.
Yeah.
And it's one of the ethical challenges we need to think about as AI becomes more integrated into the entertainment industry.
So how do we ensure that these algorithms are being used responsibly and that they're not perpetuating, existing biases or limiting our choices?
It's a tricky balance, right?
It is.
Embracing the possibilities of AI while also being mindful of the potential pitfalls.
It reminds me of that thing we were talking about with the TV Academy, calling for industry leaders to establish ethical guidelines for AI usage.
Right. It's a crucial conversation to be having.
Totally.
We need to make sure that AI is being used to empower creators and enhance the creative process.
And not to replace human artists or manipulate audiences.
Exactly.
It sounds like we're on the verge of a whole new era of entertainment.
It does, doesn't it? One where technology and creativity are intertwined in ways we can't even imagine yet.
And that's what makes it so exciting.
We're witnessing this period of unprecedented change and innovation.
Who knows what amazing stories and groundbreaking experiences await us?
I can't wait to find out.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I think it's time to circle back to some of the other trends we've been discussing.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But there are a few threads we need to tie together before we wrap up this whole deep dive.
For instance, we were talking about the return of auteur directors and how that might signal a shift in the industry towards more diverse storytelling.
Yeah, and it's not even just about the directors themselves. It's about the stories they're choosing to tell.
Right. Like we're seeing more films and shows that grapple with complex social issues.
That challenge our assumptions.
And offer fresh perspectives on the world around us.
Exactly. And that's something I think audiences are really craving.
Stories that feel relevant.
Yeah, that speak to the issues of our time.
And that's what makes this such an exciting time to be a part of this industry.
It really is. We're witnessing this convergence of trends.
Totally.
The rise of independent creators, the return of auteur directors, the increasing influence of technology.
All contributing to a more vibrant and diverse landscape.
I love it.
I'm curious, what are some of the specific films or shows you've seen recently that exemplify this trend?
Well, one film that comes to mind is Blind Love.
Oh, yeah?
Which we talked about earlier.
That won Best Feature at the Joburg Film Festival.
It's beautifully crafted.
I haven't seen that one yet.
You should check it out.
I will.
It's a story about a young woman who's blind, and it's about her journey of self-discovery.
It sounds incredible.
It is.
And it speaks to what we were saying earlier about showcasing diverse voices and perspectives.
Exactly. And then there's the HBO show, The White Lotus.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Which we mentioned in the context of dark tourism.
Yeah, it's a satirical look at the wealthy elite.
but it also explores themes of class privilege and the complexities of human relationships.
It's a show that manages to be both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Which is a rare combination.
It is.
And I think it's a great example of how television is evolving to tell more nuanced and complex stories.
We've talked a lot about the trends shaping the industry.
Yeah, we have.
But I kind of want to bring it back to the individual viewer for a moment.
I like where you're going with this.
Ultimately, it's the audience that decides what succeeds and what fails.
For sure.
So with all these changes happening, what advice would you give to someone who wants to stay on top of all the latest trends and discover new and exciting content?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think the most important thing is to be curious and open-minded.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone.
So don't just stick to what you know and love.
Yeah, be willing to try something new.
Explore different genres, cultures, and perspectives.
Precisely, and don't be afraid to let your curiosity lead you down unexpected paths.
Because you never know what hidden gems you might discover.
Exactly.
That's great advice, and it's something we try to do with every episode of The Deep Dive, you know.
To uncover those hidden gems.
Yeah, and share them with our listeners.
And hopefully inspire them to go on their own deep dives.
I love that it's about empowering our listeners to become active participants in the cultural conversation.
Exactly. And to realize that they have the power to shape the future of entertainment by choosing what they watch.
Yeah.
What they support.
What they share with others.
For sure.
So as we wrap up this segment of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a challenge.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Go out and discover something new.
Yeah.
Watch a film from a different country.
Ooh, I like that.
Explore a genre you've never seen before.
Okay.
Or check out a show created by someone you've never heard of.
And then come back and tell us all about it.
Yes, we're always eager to hear about new and exciting discoveries.
Always.
We'll be right back to explore one final trend that's shaping the future of film and television. Okay, so we're back. And, you know, as we've been talking about all these trends from African cinema to AI, it really strikes me that we're in this incredibly dynamic period in the film and television industry.
It really does feel like a creative renaissance, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
So much experimentation, so much boundary pushing.
Totally. And it makes me think about those acclaimed directors we mentioned earlier, Lynne Ramsay, Kathryn Bigelow, that whole group.
Yeah, what about them?
Their return to filmmaking, it feels significant in light of everything else we've been talking about.
I see what you mean. You've got these master storytellers coming back at a time when the industry is being reshaped by, you know, all these new technologies and distribution models.
Right. So it begs the question, what role do these auteur directors play in a landscape that's becoming increasingly dominated by streaming giants and superhero franchises?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Well, I think it speaks to the enduring power of individual vision. You know, these directors have a distinct style, a unique voice that sets them apart from the crowd.
Right.
And I think audiences are craving that authenticity, that sense of a human being behind the camera.
Yeah, even in a world that's becoming increasingly automated.
Exactly. It's like a counterbalance, you know?
It's interesting.
You've got these massive blockbuster films that are often driven by spectacle and special effects.
Right.
And then you have these smaller, more character-driven films that are about exploring the complexities of human experience.
And there's room for both, right?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I think they complement each other.
Yeah.
After you've seen a few superhero movies, it's refreshing to watch a film that challenges you to think.
That makes you feel something on a deeper level.
Exactly.
It's like cleansing the palate.
I like that analogy.
And the return of these auteur directors is a sign that audiences are hungry for that kind of cinematic experience.
Yeah, they want something different, something more.
It gives me hope that there's still a place for, you know, artistic expression in an industry that can sometimes feel driven by commercial interests.
I share that hope, and I think it's important to remember that these directors aren't just creating films for themselves.
Right.
They're also inspiring a new generation of filmmakers.
That's a really good point. They're serving as mentors, as role models.
Showing young filmmakers that it's possible to forge your own path and create something truly unique.
And that's especially important in a world where the creator economy is booming.
Right. It's encouraging young filmmakers to find their voice, to experiment, to take risks.
So it's like a ripple effect. The work of these established directors is creating waves that are inspiring and empowering the next generation of storytellers.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it, and it speaks to the interconnectedness of the entertainment industry.
We're all part of this larger conversation, this ongoing dialogue about what stories we want to tell and how we want to tell them.
And that conversation is becoming increasingly global.
Yeah, we talked about the rise of African cinema.
But we're also seeing incredible work coming out of Asia, Latin America, all over the world.
The barriers to entry are lower than ever before.
Which means we're being exposed to a wider range of voices and perspectives.
And that's only going to enrich the art form as a whole.
100%.
I'm so excited to see what the future holds for film and television. We've got all these amazing trends converging, the rise of auteur directors, the explosion of the creator economy, the advancements in technology. It feels like we're on the cusp of something truly special.
I couldn't agree more, and as we've discussed throughout this whole deep dive, it's a future that we all have a role in shaping.
As viewers, as creators, as participants in this global conversation about the power of storytelling.
That's a great point to end on.
Yeah, we all have a part to play in shaping the future of entertainment. So go out there, explore, discover, create, and let's see what amazing stories we can bring to life together.
And keep those imaginations firing, because the best is yet to come.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the film and television industry. Until next time, stay curious.